I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons, my Bibliospran, Bibliohowlers, and Bibliomancers. Thank you so much for supporting my hobby and passion even more. It means so much to me. Hey everyone, Petrik here. So time moved like a flash and now we are in the year 2023. So Happy New Year, and I wish the best for all of us. May 2023 be the best year for us, both daily life and reading adventures. And with that in mind, today's video is my January TBR. January TBR is an important reading month for me. I always want to start my reading year with something great, and I hope that the 7 books that I have decided to read this month will be the right choice to kick off this year. And the first book that I want to read this month is The First Secret Project by Sanderson. Now, to be honest, I am still in a bit of a dilemma here. As someone who backed their Kickstarter campaign to get the 4 premium Secret Project hardcovers, I have the option to choose whether I would love to read The First Secret Project on ebook, which means I will be able to read this and review it sooner, or should I wait a bit and read the book in its hardcover format, in its premium hardcover, which I think will be sent within this month as well. So right now, I'm in a bit of a dilemma for this. We'll see which option I'll end up picking. But yes, for those of you who are pledged to the Kickstarter campaign, yes, we can now read The First Secret Project by Sanderson. It's quite amazing because just 2 months ago, we just got the opportunity to read The Lost Metal, which I did, and now we have another new Cosmere. As a fan, I'm really happy and I look forward to reading it this month. After that, the second novel that I plan to read in the month of January, this is a huge priority for me and I will make sure to read this. And if I don't end up reading The First Secret Project first, then I will choose The 11th Cycle by Kian and Ardalan. This is the first book in the Mistland series, and honestly, I have owned this book for quite a while now, and I've been looking forward to reading this one ever since I received my copy of this book. But at the same time, this is the book that I've decided to pick in order to kickstart my year with something truly great. At least that's what my instinct has spoken, because 11th Cycle is a book that is hugely inspired by Berserk, Dark Souls, and also Elden Ring and Bloodborne. Pretty much the Soulsborne games published by From Software Games, and I am a huge fan of From Software Games. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to reading this one. I have actually read the first 2 chapters just to give a tester, and yes, I think I will really love this book. I've taken quite a long break from reading grimdark, one of my favorite subgenre, last year, and now this year it will be its revival. This and also reading more sci-fi books. Also take a look at this cover art. I think the cover art by Nino looks super good here. And then the next 2 books that I plan to read in the month of January, the both of them are rereads, and the first one is The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. So I have owned an advanced reading copy of The Shadow Casket, which is the sequel to The Ember Blade, the long-awaited sequel to The Ember Blade, which will be released, I think, in February, so next month. But The Ember Blade was first published in the year 2018. I was one of the first reviewers for this book, and now almost 5 years have passed since its first publication. The sequel will be out soon, and I think it is time. It is time for me to do a second read of The Ember Blade in order to refresh my memories of this book, in order to refresh my memories of the details in this book. And yes, I absolutely love The Ember Blade. I think it is a great mix between classic epic fantasy and also modern grimdark fantasy. Such a great book. And I will keep my fingers crossed that the second read will actually be better than the first time I read through it. We will see. And then the next book that I want to do a second read is for The Bone-Shot Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is one of my favorite fantasy debut, and I read this one also before the first publication date, and I was already incredibly in love with this one. But I am ashamed to admit I haven't continued past this book. I haven't read The Bone-Shot Emperor, the second book. And now, with the imminent release of the third and final book in the trilogy, The Bone-Shot War, which will be released in the month of April, I think it is time again for me to reread this book and refresh my memories and connection with the characters. And then next month, I will move on to reading The Bone-Shot Emperor. It's time, really. I really love The Bone-Shot Daughter, and I hope the remaining of the trilogies will be as good or even better. But for now, I'm just hoping that my reread of this book will actually remind me why I love this book in the first place again. And then the next novel that I want to read in the month of January is one of my most anticipated books of this year, and it is The Tyranny of Faith by Swan. This is the sequel to The Justice of Kings, a book that I really loved, and I read The Justice of Kings not last year, but the year before that, in the year 2021, at the end of 2021. But it hasn't been too long since I've read The Justice of Kings for the first time. I don't think I need to do a reread of the first book right now. Plus, the author Richard Swan has been super kind enough to actually include a detailed summary of the first book on his website. So for those of you who love The Justice of Kings and you want to refresh your memories, make sure to check out Richard Swan's website for the detailed summary of The Justice of Kings. Even though I still remember the details of the first book, I will also read that detailed summary, just in case, you know. And yes, I'm so looking forward to reading this one. I'm really hoping that this one will be even better than the first book. Also, the cover art, at the very least, is definitely better than the first book, in my opinion. I think Martina Fajkova, the cover artist, did such an excellent job with the cover art. And then the sixth book that I want to read this month is a massive book. It is the third book in the Bound and the Broken series by Ryan Cahill of War and Ruin. This book is 420,000 or 430,000 words long. So yeah, it is bigger than The Way of Kings. It is bigger than Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. It is a massive book and it will go down as one of the biggest books I've read if I finished it this month. I really enjoyed the first book of Blood and Fire, but I think the second book of Darkness and Light is a vast improvement compared to the first book. It really felt like Ryan Cahill has taken an insanely intense writing course in order to improve his craft, and I don't know whether he did that or not, but of Darkness and Light is hugely superior compared to of Blood and Fire, and also The Exile is one of the best novella that I read last year. I hope that this third book of the series will be the best of the series so far. I mean, it is the biggest book, definitely by far. It better be the best book in the series so far. And also, for those of you who are asking, this is not a trilogy. The Bound and the Broken is a 5-book series, and so we're only halfway to the series now. And then the final novel that I want to read this month is a continuation from what I plan to read in the month of December, and it is the 7th book in the Wheel of Time series, A Crown of Swords. I tried to get to this one last month, but well, life got too busy. I underestimated just how busy December was. And yes, I plan to get to this one this month. I don't know whether it's possible or not. I mean, the previous books I mentioned before, A Crown of Swords, almost all of them are massive books. But if possible, I really want to get to A Crown of Swords this month because the plan right now is to read 3 books in the Wheel of Time this year. At least 3 books. The goal really is to get through the slog portions of the Wheel of Time this year, and then I can read the remaining books in the series next year in the year 2024, finishing the Wheel of Time once and for all. That's the plan anyway, and I hope that you will wish me luck. I really love The Fires of Heaven and also Lord of Chaos. I know that there are plenty of mixed opinions on The Crown of Swords on whether this is the beginning of the slog or not, but many have agreed that the 8th book, The Path of Daggers, The Path to Daggers, is definitely a part of the slog. So that's all the 7 novels that I want to read this month. I am really excited to read through them all. January and February, maybe it is because these are the beginning of New Year. I always felt like these 2 months are the month where I have the most energy and motivation to read books. Even though that reading energy usually always continue for the remaining of the year anyway. But yeah, usually the first 3 months of the year are the months where I feel the most energy to read. As for manga series, I plan to reread Tokyo Revengers from the beginning because I heard that the manga series has ended and I want to refresh my memory of this manga. I love this manga. I do not think that it is a part of my favorite manga series yet, but it is very engaging and unputdownable. It is very easy to read, and I think those who want to start reading manga can start from reading Tokyo Revenger by Ken Wakui. I hope that the ending will be a satisfying one for me. But first, a reread of the manga series from the beginning is in order. So that's all the novels and manga that I want to read in the month of January. As I said, I am very excited to get through them all. Do tell me what are the books that you plan to read in the month of January, and what are the books from my TBR this month that you have read and maybe you have loved. Once again, Happy New Year, and as always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.